morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Phases the Next Level, Black is Magazine, Phases Life Vibes, and it goes on and on. Thank you so much for being here. We have Miss Meka Diamond, who is the CEO of Visible Evidence with us. Meka, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I'm so elated that you're here. I'm glad that you accepted, and I'm super excited that you will be featured in our brand new magazine, the very first edition. It's a holiday edition, and who better to be featured in the magazine than Meka Diamond?
I am super excited, and I'm honored to be the first. As well as launching this magazine. So congratulations to you. And I'm excited that everyone who will be able to get exposure as well as witness my story through the magazine. So I'm excited. So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So Meka, go ahead and tell, we have about 8,000 people that could possibly see this and more. So go ahead and tell people who you are and what you have going on.
Wow. So I am Meka Diamond. I am the owner of Visible Evidence Consulting Firm, where we help clients reach new levels of success through strategic planning, through marketing, digital marketing. We also do PR as well as community outreach. And I'll talk a little bit about where that all came from when we get into the interview. But I'm also the host of the Morning Tea Radio Show, which is an internet radio station that's in Houston, Texas. Of course, it's worldwide. And I'm the talk show host of Meet Houston, which brings everything to the city of Houston, as well as favorite restaurants, because I love to eat. Also some events that I got a chance to attend. And then also, have interviews and talk to those who have witnessed some things through life, and they have to, not bring exposure, but open up and share and get different perspectives on some realities of life. So I'm always excited to talk about that because I've seen some lives change based on the things that we discuss. So yeah, that's all about me. Of course, there has been some good, some bad, and some ugly that we'll get into and we'll talk about from a personal perspective as well as a business perspective as well. So I'm just excited and able to be the one who's going to bless others who will be able to read the magazine and see this interview. So.
Absolutely. And I think we are so in tune with one another. We're aligned because my thing is that you have to share your stories and your experiences. Yeah. Your challenges, your ups, your downs with people, because there's somebody out there somewhere that wants to share but keeps holding it in, and they don't know how, or maybe they experienced something I've experienced or you've experienced and they're scared to say it. And if somebody comes forward and start talking, what we've both witnessed is that once we've opened up, people started opening up and their lives changed. And that's what we're all about. That's not what we're change people's lives for the better. So Meka, I want to go back. I want to go on a personal level first. And I want to talk about growing up. I know that you were born and raised in Louisiana, if I'm correct.
Yes. That is correct.
That's where it started.
That's where it started.
Tell us a bit about your life growing up.
Yeah. So of course I was born in Louisiana, and the majority of my family still lives there. But my growing up in the country life was different than the city life. Once we moved to the city of Houston, my mom is actually from Oklahoma. My father is from Louisiana, who grew up on a plantation with his parents and his great grandparents. So I got different sides of life, and learned a lot. In the country, I learned that it takes the simple things to make you happy. It takes the simple things for you to continue. You appreciate the simple life. And then when moving to the city, of course, you want all of the lavish things of the city, but you have to learn, you have to work hard for those things. So I'm appreciative of both areas where I live, because they taught me a lot about life. They taught me about nurturing relationships with people. Know anybody from Louisiana, that's what we do. That's what we are born to do. We don't know you, but we never meet a stranger. And so it allowed me to, when I got to Houston, to open up more and to bring some of my Louisiana roots to the city of Houston, and kind of help nurture relationships of those who really didn't open up, express, or, speak when you come into the room. So I learned a lot of my upbringing from being in the country life, and I was able to bring it to the city of Houston. My parents got divorced when I was in the 3rd grade, which was a very pivotal time for me, because I didn't witness any of the arguments and the things of that nature. And so it was something that was a surprise that really took me by storm, being a girl, because I'm a daddy's girl still at the age of 42. I'm a daddy's girl, but I love my mother as well. Yeah. But it was a difficult time for me. But growing up, I knew I didn't miss out on anything, even though their relationship, they weren't together. My mom never spoke bad of my father. And so it wasn't that I had to make a decision or a choice or I was stuck in the middle. It was one of those things where it was a reality of life. And at a young age, I had to learn how to deal with it, how to maneuver when your parents are separated and they get a divorce. So that was one of the biggest things. It was very hurtful at a young age because you're trying to understand, you're trying to figure it all out. And especially when you aren't witnessing the things, the arguments, to say, okay, this is why this happened. And so it was a very pivotal point in my life. But thank God, to God be the glory, that I didn't miss out on anything. My parents were both nurturing parents. They did whatever it was that they needed to do in order for us not to feel as if it affected us. But it did affect me as a young adult.
Right. And I can understand that. It's a lot of things that when we're young, we're like, well, why? We don't understand. And I think a lot of that is our parents protecting us.
Yes.
They don't want, it's something that kids don't need to know. That's not kids, but thank God for nurturing parents. And likewise, I have the same. So I understand. So moving forward, you went, at what point did you move to Houston?
I moved to Houston in the 6th grade.
Okay. And how was Houston? Because when you talk about the country and you go to big old Houston and have to go to school in the 6th grade, what's that like?
Yeah, it was good. It was different because you're used to, in Louisiana, you're growing up with the same people because it's a small country town. So then when you move and you have 5 schools in one district, and those who it was difficult because I was used to building those same relationships. Like, I grew up with those people. I knew them from when we were younger all the way until we got into middle school. And so being able to come to Houston, and then, as I said, there's 5 different schools, and then you're split up based on, even if you're just across the street from one person, you'd be going to a different school. It took some adjustments. It took some adjustments because those who I nurtured relationships with when I moved here, they may not go to school with me. They didn't go to school with me. So then it's like the first day of school all over again.
Right.
So it was different, but I will say it opens up me mentally. I saw a lot more of life when I came to the city than when I saw it. Makes you want to work harder, strive harder, push harder, because you saw many different things and you saw so many different avenues of who you can be and how you can get there. Made a huge impact as well on when I got to middle school and moved here.
Yeah, I can agree with that. When we moved to Houston, I was worried about my children, but they acclimated well. But then it gives you, as an adult, it gives you like this inspiration to be better, because people live pretty good depending on where you are, and people have dreams, and people are reaching those things, and it gives you a sense of inspiration. So
yeah.
So then, Meka, you deal with life.
Yes.
Deal with life. We all deal with life, and we all go through things. We all do things that we're not proud of. And we have to face some things, and all of those things are learning mechanisms, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Share with us some of the bumps in the road that you had to go through before you became who you are today.
Yes. Oh, wow. So a huge life reality took place in the year 2014. Of course, I got married. I also began being a hairstylist, which really started me out in my business of being an entrepreneur. So that's where I got started, being a hairstylist. I got married in 2002 and took a pivotal life reality turn for me in the year of 2013, 2014. Not saying that everything was bad, because it's all a living testimony and what was supposed to take place. But I got a divorce. And I went through a lot of embarrassment with the divorce because it was a public divorce again. And you don't think about this until you actually go through it. So my parents never shared, them arguing. So to the outside world, it looked completely different.
Right.
Right. So you never really realize that you took on those same things when you're in your own relationship.
Wow.
So to the outside world, you are the perfect couple. You are the king and the queen. You are who they would say will be together forever. And those relationships mimic your counseling other relationships. Meanwhile, when you're at home, you're barely even speaking to one another.
Wow.
And so I took on a mask. I wore a mask for a very long time. Some things that I was going through, some manipulation. I didn't realize that I had some insecurities because I truly wanted my marriage to work. And so what I did was, whatever it was that I needed to do in order to push for us to be together, I did, until it got to a point to where I felt like I was going crazy. Like, One side of me was saying that you're doing the right things, and the other side was saying that you're not doing enough. So you begin to walk on eggshells in your own household and trying to figure out what's wrong with you. So it developed an insecurity. And what I realized was it was manipulation. Things were said to me to make me feel a certain type of way, to make me respond a certain type of way. Wow. And it went on for years.
We talk about mental abuse. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like, you say manipulation, but do you feel like that mental abuse was a part of that? Because people can mentally have your mind and make you abuse you that way.
So I wouldn't say it was mental abuse. And the reason why I wouldn't say it was mental abuse is because I don't believe wholeheartedly, that they were intentionally abusing me. Okay. I believe that they were in a space where they were the president of their school. They were the first grandchild. They were spoiled by their family. And so they were used to getting what they wanted. And so in order to get what they wanted, these were some of the mechanisms that they used without even knowing that they were doing that. And it was just because they were brought up that way. They felt that they were entitled to the things that they desired. Right. And me being a person who's a nurturer, who wants to see you happy, it was my decision ultimately to let those things affect me to the point to where I felt like I was going in a circle. So I wouldn't say it was mental abuse. I really do believe it was just manipulation. I really do.
Right, because people, sometimes you can see things that people don't see.
Yes.
Like you can see that, wow, why are they doing, how come they can see that? Because they really believe it's the right thing.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, because you alone, like, we can't change people, but it's like you can never get them to understand, listen, this is why I'm hurting them. This is why I feel like I'm feeling.
That's a very good question, because some things you have to take responsibility for. You have to take responsibility for and say that I'm strong enough, I'm worthy enough, that this is something that I don't have to do because my heart is pure and my heart is genuine, and you have to love me for who I am. But some people get into a space where they want more than what they had, and they feel like they're entitled to the things that they want. Even if they know that that's not you as an individual, you want the outside world to see as though it's perfect. You are doing well in your marriage. And so you pacify it to the point to where one day you just wake up like I did and say, you know what? I don't want to live like I'm walking on eggshells every day. I'm worthy enough to where I know in my heart that I'm doing each and everything to make sure that our relationship lasts. But at some point, you have to put your foot down. And so that was a pivotal point for myself, because mentally, I've always wanted to see people grow. I never wanted to hurt anybody's feelings. I never wanted to hurt someone. So it was very difficult for me to put myself in a position to where I was really hurting somebody else, but trying to help myself at the same time. It was really, really difficult. Sometimes I would want to go back to the house just because they were hurting so bad, although I knew that we hadn't got beyond what we needed to grow from. But mentally, I'm struggling with, let me just go back just so they can feel better. Even though in those moments, I was still in a place where I didn't feel better. But I was building myself strong enough. God made me strong enough to the point to where I knew that I deserved more than what I was receiving. But that was a pivotal point. I lost a lot of friends. I lost those who were considered my best friends, my sisters in this process. Those who I was loyal to, who I would never let anybody feel comfortable that they would come to me and talk about them. I was bad-mouthed in the streets. Lies were told. Just a lot of different things. And I'm not going to sit up here and say that everything that I did was right, because it wasn't. Right. It wasn't right. And him and I have rectified the things that he did wrong and the things that I did wrong as well. And matter of fact, we're friends because we weren't bad people. We got married at a young age, and some of the things that we witnessed and within our relationship now, as I've gotten older, I realized, I never prayed for our relationship to get better. Like I never, in the spiritual realm now, I think back and I'm like, what if I would have done that? Would my relationship have changed? What if we would have went more in a spiritual realm, in a spiritual avenue, than me just being frustrated with what's happening? And maybe that's why my mind mentally didn't change. Right. That's why things didn't work out. So you just learn as you grow, you learn. And I've learned a lot, but I do know without a shadow of a doubt that I was chosen for these things to happen to, because I'm a living testimony of where I am today and how it can help others, other women and other men, that yes, you can have a pivotal point in your life. Yes, you could be thinking suicide, because that is one of the things that I thought during that time. But I stayed consistent in my prayers. I stayed consistent in wanting to do better. Wanted to make a better name for myself. And so with prayer and the grace of God and me growing in that time when I was all by myself, and God says you if you only have one friend, you have a friend in Jesus. And that was my friend. That was my friend.
That one, that's it.
That was my friend during that time.
Yeah. So Meka, I hear you say, what if I woulda, but I think that, and this is just me, it's, our lives are written. It's already planned. It's already, that's what I believe. And I believe that we go through everything, and everything is a season, it's for a season. And in order to, and some of those seasons are tough seasons, but it's all because we need to grow to get where we need to go, right? And to be who we are, who we need to be, and who God has created us to be.
Yes.
And so for that experience, well, what if you have, well, maybe even if you have, God didn't have that in the plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Possibility. And then you talk about consistency, and you talk about your faith and your commitment after that. I'm committed to wanting to be better. I want to grow. I want to be consistent in my prayers in order to be who I am today. And that's what we want to get out to people, is that you can do and be anything you want to be, but you have to be consistent, but you have to be able to endure the storm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
The storm. Now, I always say, one of the things that I say, the clouds may be gray, it may be dark, but there's a rainbow on the other side. The sun will peak, it will come out. You just have to go through the process and trust it as you're going through it, and see the other side and get to the rainbow.
Yeah, that song says the sun is going to shine if I hold
out.
Gotta hold out.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a segue into the business part of your life.
Yes.
We want to talk about, so when we talk about business, we talk about growing a business, even starting a business is so scary, because people are afraid to fail in business. People are afraid of the not knowing, people are afraid to pour into their business financially because of the not knowing. Am I gonna succeed? Is this thing gonna fail? I'm gonna lose this money? Tell me about you finally get past all those things and you see a vision. What was your vision, and where did this start to set to where you are today? Where did that start?
Well, during the time of my marriage, I was a hairstylist again, and I developed relationships, right? So coming out of, and when I say I lost everything, some of it by choice, because wanting to write that part of my life off, but job, car, I was living with my mom. So it turned me into somebody else, somebody complete that I had known ever, because I had never been in a position to where I was without. And so you have to, I've had the entrepreneur spirit from being a hairstylist and knowing the hustle and knowing the game and knowing what I need to do. But the biggest part of my growth process was my nurtured relationships during the time when I was a hairstylist. So people knew that I was credible when it came to business. They knew I was credible when it came to the things that they needed to learn, the things that they needed to know, who they needed to connect with. So I was pretty much like the connector after this part. And I had to realize, what is it that I can do? I went back into corporate America for a little bit, but what is it that I can do in order for me to use what God has given me as a gift and bring and make money off of it, right? And so what I decided to do was those nurtured relationships that I had built, those who would call me and ask me for numbers of somebody who was a photographer or somebody who was an event planner or whatever, I decided to do a revenue sharing program where you would pay me a percentage off of my referrals. And from that, it built bigger relationships, because more now I'm making myself worthy of, okay, if you want to connect with this person, this is how much you have to pay me, right? And so that was one of the things that was huge for me. And I'll tell anybody, the biggest thing that you can do, the most important thing when you are an entrepreneur, when you're starting a business, when you're in the business, is nurturing relationships. If you are credible within your relationships, it will put you in a room that you never knew or never thought that you would be in. And that's what happened with me. I had to grow new friends. I had to get in a new circle of influence. I had to be in rooms where, yeah, you may be the president and I may be just stepping in, but I feel like, and I'm going to act like I'm worthy enough for us to have a conversation. And because if you go outside of this room and you ask those who I've nurtured relationships with, they're going to speak the same language that I'm speaking because I'm credible. And so that was the biggest thing for me, nurture relationships. And I'll say this as well, service work. My service work and sowing seeds in good ground has done an amazing turnaround on me in my life. My brother was killed in 2007, and my drive and my focus was to be his feet on the ground, to make his name positive, because he was in a gang and he got killed in gang violence. But my drive and my focus was everybody in the city of Houston is going to remember his name based on the good deeds that his sister does with my footwork. And so that alone put me in rooms with political arenas, elected officials, the Congressional Black Caucus, the president, senators, all of those things was because of the service work that I continue to do. So even in the difficult moments, I can reach out to those that I need to. Scratch my back, I scratch yours, because of those nurtured relationships. So yes, I did have some struggles. Hustling is a struggle in itself. You have to be creative, especially in the times that we've had to pivot to. You have to nurture relationships, and you have to be creative in your mindset and think of, what has God blessed me with? What seed has he given me in order for me to nurture that seed and for it to grow? And so that's what I did. And here I am.
Yeah. So you talked about you had to nurture new relationships and new friendships, and you talk from pain to purpose, right?
Yes.
So in your pain, you lost trust in people. Like, you didn't trust people, and you didn't do you right either, right? And
Right.
so when you were growing those relationships, how did you conquer the trust issue? Because it's hard to trust people.
Yeah, it very well is. And I'll be honest with you, those that I thought I can trust, even in this season of after this happening, you realize they are attachments and they're not really those who want to partner with you.
Yes.
I grew, and I grew fast, and to God be the glory, I grew fast. And, to the outside world, to social media and everybody, you look at, even in relationships, even with guys who are trying to approach me, you're looking at them with a side eye, or friends, those who want to partner with you, because you're wondering, do you really want to partner with me? Do you really want to pursue me? Or do you like the attention that I'm receiving, and you just want to say you're attached to me in some type of way? And so I had some disappointments. I had some disappointments of those that I really thought that were close to me, those that, I considered wanted to partner with me. I had disappointments where I realized that I was the one, because I'm a nurturer. I'm the one giving the buffet line, but I never received a plate off their table. And so you don't even really see it until some things start taking place. And then you look back and you're like, wow, like, I've given you everything. I've given you resources. I've given you creative ideas. I've even possibly given you financials on certain things. And then you sit back and you're looking, and it's like, but what have you given me? What have you given me? And so it was hard in some of them, because I felt like some of them were really, really close to me. I thought that we were really forming partnerships. And what it really was greed. You were using me to get what you needed without putting your stuff on the table in order for me to eat.
Yes.
And it's so sad, because what it does, after you realize it, you put a wall up again. And you don't want anybody to let anybody in, even though they may not be that individual, but you don't want to let them in because you don't want the same thing to happen again. So it's almost like, okay, Lord, do I miss out on my blessings because I'm not giving what you've given to me? Because that's what my heart says.
Yeah.
Or do I just shut them off and be like, Lord, you're going to have to tell me something else, because I really don't want to let this wall down and give them anything that you've given to me. So it's a difficult place to be in.
It is. You talk about, you mentioned, I've given, and you haven't given anything back. You haven't brought anything to the table. And just like you said, we are supposed to give, but God gave us 5 senses, and you're not supposed to let people run over you and take advantage of you. If I have a conversation with you, Meka, my word is my bond, and say, Meka, can you help me in this area? I can help you in this area. Where can we help each other? I had an interview yesterday, and and we talked about, we have to support one another.
Yeah.
And if I have resources that I know could benefit Meka, why wouldn't I give that to Meka, right? And if
Right.
we can have opportunities or it's resources that could benefit me, and we say we're in this till the wheels fall off, then
Yeah.
you're supposed to be dedicated to that. And that's a part of the trust factor, that you can't trust everybody that says, I'm rolling with you till the wheels fall
Yeah.
off. Because at a certain point, as you grow and you grow and you rise and you rise, they're in it for the rise. They're not in it because I genuinely love you, I care for you, and I want you to win, right?
Yeah, I learned it. I learned that even before I learned that. Now, looking back, the friends that I thought were loyal, they wouldn't be able to deal with me in this season. I wasn't nearby where I am today.
Don't come on me.
And if I would have brought them along with me, it would be detrimental to where I am. Because if you were talking in that season and now where I am in this season, who knows how you would have ruined my credibility. And so you have to look back, but see, you don't understand that till you get to the other side and you look back at that and you say, you know what? They couldn't come with me in this season. But the biggest thing was how I handled it in that season.
Absolutely.
How I handled it made the difference in where I grew. And that's very important, because oftentimes we vengeance is mine, thus says the Lord. We want to go back. We want to do what we want to do. We want to act how we want to act. Even we want to discuss what we want to discuss. But what I realize now is, in this season of my life, those are distractions. And I can't have those distractions ruin what my purpose is. And so, although I was upset, it sent me to a state of depression. But getting over it and now realizing where I am and where I've grown to, because one, because of the way that I handled it, two, because of trusting God and knowing that the saying that you can't take everybody with you is so true.
I was just
even though you want to, your heart says yes.
Yes.
But you keep getting those, God keeps slapping you on the hand and showing you things, and you're trying to ignore it because you don't want it to be that individual.
Right.
But when he give you that punch in the stomach and you just have to say, okay, Lord,
you'll know.
I quit.
Yeah. I just wrote that down. I was saying, because I didn't want to forget that everybody, it could be family. Everybody cannot go with you where you're going, because it could be detrimental to your success. Everybody can't handle what you can handle.
Yeah.
So they can't go. They're not bad people. They're just on a whole different other page than you.
Yeah.
And if you allow that spirit in where you are, it's going to hinder you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay if you got to leave them. It wasn't meant to be. Don't feel bad about that. So that's my problem too, Meka. I'm like, but oh God, if I could just help. You can't help people that don't want help.
That's it. You can't help them that don't want to be helped, and you can't take them if God is showing you that they're not supposed to go. Right. And if he's showing you, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And when you go against the grain, he'll let you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did not tell you that.
Yeah. You just have to trust it in the season. I'm in a space right now today that I didn't think that I would be in with some individuals. And to be honest with you, it didn't even upset me like it did before. Because I'm like, okay, Lord, this happened before. So obviously, apparently, they're not with me. They're not supposed to go with me in my next season. And I've prayed for discernment. And if I prayed and I've asked for discernment in people in my surrounding, and I say no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Amen. If I'm praying that prayer, then I have to be okay with what he reveals to me. And so that's where I am in this season. That's where I am. You have
to have that faith that he's going to give you the discernment. Yeah. Where he shows you, you got to roll with it. So in closing, we're going to close here in just a minute, but before we get to the end of the interview, I want to talk about creating opportunities for ourselves in a time of coronavirus and COVID.
Oh, wow.
Because as you know, Rise Queen is my baby. We were already getting prepared for that, and then COVID had to go cancel everything, stop everything where it was going to be really great, right? Yeah. And so then at that point, I got a little disappointed, frustrated, like, now what do I do? Because I'm used to creating events. I go out, I speak to people, I'm around people, and now I can't do that. And so what do I do? So for a little minute, I'm almost said, forget it all. But then it's like, I didn't bring you this far for you to say stop. So then I said, then what do I do, Lord? And the magazine came. And that keeps me so busy. And
Yeah.
it's another addition to the Phase of the Next Level family, right?
Hmm.
Phase of the Next Level. So in your time of coronavirus,
Yes.
you get down through there. You are
Yeah.
busy. You hit the streets running. We can't
Yeah.
catch up with you. How did you handle that?
So let me just share that coronavirus for myself has been a blessing for me. Not illnesses, not the things that's happening with those, and God bless those, and praying for those who are ill, who have passed away. Coronavirus for myself made me sit still. It
Whoa.
made me listen to the true whispers of God. In the busy life, my life prior to coronavirus, I was all over the place. I was doing a lot of things, and I had to, some things were beneficial and some things weren't beneficial. But what I had to realize by sitting down is I picked my business apart and put it back together. And how I picked it apart was I took out the things that wasn't beneficial and didn't make sense. And I said, this is extra time that I can focus on things that I need to focus on. And I have made more money during Corona than I have in the last 4 or 5 months that I have in a whole year. And because I truly listened to the whispers, I always talk about it, but when you have time to sit and it's just you and God, and you have time to ask questions and talk to him and speak to him, and really are in tune with what he wants you to know, he'll give it to you. And so what I will say is, for those who God have given you something, God has given you, you are here for a reason. And prior to this time, you may have thought, how do I do that? I'm not educated enough. Creatively, I can't figure it out. I don't know anybody in that area that can help me. This time of sitting still gives you the opportunity to, whatever the seed that God planted inside of you, to nurture it, to grow. Whatever baby he's given you, to birth the baby. You just have to take the initiative and be intentional about the things that you need to do in order to birth the baby. It takes 9 months to birth the baby, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, but you still got to go to the doctor and get checked up. You have to know how, your body's going to change. All of those different things play a role in what you need to do. As I said, everybody's purpose for something. You're not just purpose just to go to work every day for somebody else. God has given you a talent. He has given you a gift that you may not have even thought about. This is the time to think about it. There's so many avenues of free webinars and workshops. Right now, we're in a Black Lives Matter season, where if you're wanting to start a business, there's people who are offering classes and free things and all of those things that you can do. But don't just go through life and not utilize the gifts that God has given you. You don't know how happy it feels to be able to say that I can get up and I can go when I want to go. I can work today and not work tomorrow. Those things. So we are here. We are given this life for us to live it to the best of our ability. And in this season of Corona, I would say to anybody, use your gifts. Tap into yourself and say, self, what is it that I can do? Tap into God and say, God, you gave me this gift. Who do I need to speak to? How do I start? What do I need to give me the wisdom? Because he's going to give you the wisdom, and just do it. Just put one foot in front of the other and do it. So in this season, I've built more relationships because I've been more intentional with going outside. I've been a nationwide business that I didn't have prior to Corona. But just saying that I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the initiative. I'm going to put one foot in the front of the other. I'm going to talk to God about my direction and moving steps. I ask him every single night, Lord, order my steps, show me the route, and I'm going to be obedient to what you say, your desires over my own. And since I have done that and been really intentional with the things that I do, the things that I say, the distractions that I don't accept, I've grown in this season. So
Yeah, I can sympathize with people that say, I want to do it, but I don't have resources, or I'm not really technically inclined, or I don't know. And so I was there, like I would wallow
yeah.
in that. But the moment that I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how, what, when, where, but I'm gonna figure it out. Listen, people started coming into my lives. Like my daughter wrote a book. I was like, I don't know how to put a book together and get it done. Well, during coronavirus, we made that happen because God put people in my life. It was nothing I did. It wasn't about me or my daughter. It was about God, and all He got all the glory. And like the magazine, I never did a magazine before, but I got people pouring in saying, this is how you do it. This is what you need. Right?
Yeah.
Because you're obedient to God and you
Yeah.
put Him first in everything you do. It's not about us. It's not about us. He gets the glory. So
and I want to say this too to you. Sometimes we're in positions because God knows that we have something else to give. So all while you were talking about Rise Queen, the conference, but you never would have realized your other gifts and what He wanted you to do to bring exposure to other people and be a blessing to other people, unless He put you in this season to figure it out. Right. And so you'll be able to birth some things that you didn't even know that you had, that He had given you, but you have to go through something in order for you to stay focused on that and pivot. And so that's the biggest thing as well. You know, you have to truly be obedient in what it is when He tells you or when He gives you something. So now you're opening up a whole new vein. You're opening up a new blessing for other people to bring exposure and share stories such as myself to bless other people. And so that's a God thing. And when it's a God thing, it's going to work. It's a God thing.
I believe it is. And when you say you're so busy, I couldn't even hear him, like moving around. You knew it, you had your faith, but you didn't see it. And so I think I know everything happens for a reason. It's like, sit down, be still. I need your attention because I got something for you. You can't hear that steadily going, meeting yourself up, going.
Absolutely.
So anyway, to close, I want to talk about visible evidence just really quick, what you guys do, how people can connect with you, but really tell us what visible evidence is about so that people know who you are and know you guys, that it's a trusted entity. So here's what visible evidence is about.
Yeah, so Visible Evidence started over 20 years ago as a salon name. And visible is, of course, sight. And evidence is the evidence of the things that we do. So everything that I do, everything that I'm a part of, we want to be credible in that area. So what we do is we help clients reach new levels of success, whatever that success looks like for you. So we pick businesses apart, or we help start businesses and put you on a strategic plan in order to help your business grow, whether it be through digital marketing, whether it be through the website, whether it be through, just coaching you through the process, because there's a lot of people that are business owners, but they're not coaching you through the process and helping you understand, why do you do A, B, C, D, and E? So that's what we do, because we truly want to see businesses succeed. And how do we do that? By educating you during the process of what we're actively doing. So I help clients reach new levels of success. If you are a business owner and you have an event you would like planned, I have an event side, I have production side. We also have marketing side, strategic planning. All of those things fit up under the umbrella of wanting you to succeed, whatever that success looks like for you, helping you reach your goals, but actively showing you why we're doing certain things. And even if you don't utilize my services or my people to perform the services that you need, we educate you. So if you use someone else, they won't be able to say why they didn't do this, because you'll be educated in knowing that this is something that they need to do and why they need to do it. So you're not wasting marketing dollars somewhere else, because you understand the process. So that's what we do. We also have the media side. Of course, we have the radio as well as talk show. So we use all avenues that we have for exposure, resources that I have, relationships that I built in the PR realm in order to help you grow to whatever the level is that you're expecting to grow in.
That's amazing. That is amazing work. And I just know people that this is trusted. If you're looking to build your business, if you just have questions and you want to do a session with Meka, just reach out to Meka and get something set up. Yeah, it's a cost, but we want to help each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not out here to break your bank and empty your pockets, but we have to survive. We have overhead, but we want to help. And so we can help and make it affordable for anybody that really wants the help.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Please contact Meka. Meka, how can they get in touch with you?
Sure. Thank you. You can contact me through my website, Visible Evidence, and it's spelled VZABLE, evidence like evidence in court. You can contact me through any of my social media platforms. I'm Meka Diamond on Instagram, Facebook, as well as Twitter. I am on Twitter as well. Or you can email me at meka.vevidence@yahoo.com. Email me. We can schedule a discovery call and see what it is that you need, your business needs, and then we can go from there.
All right. I thank you so, so much, Meka. I wish you nothing but success. I want to see you continue to win. And I love what you do for other
So
people.
I thank you. I appreciate you so much. You're doing an amazing job. I'm looking forward to so much more growth with Phases the Next Level. Thank you for letting me be your first in the magazine. I'm honored, and I'm just looking forward to you growing. And you know, I love you with all my heart. So I'm looking for so much to happen in the next season, because you definitely are pivoting in your next season.
Yeah, well, I love you too. I appreciate you. I look forward to doing business in the future. As always,
Yes.
we're gonna roll till the wheels fall off, and I mean that one. So,
Yes.
guys, treat everybody kind, respect yourself, respect each other. I'm out.